This is the best automatic bone meal farm for the early game in Minecraft. You can have this up and running after one caving adventure. No nether items or slime needed. The most rare item is the starting moss block, and it works in both Java and Bedrock. Howdy, this is MLabs. This design is fully self-sustaining and will get comparable rates as other bone meal farms that use moss conversion and double stone generators. I'll shout out some of my inspirations in the description. Each level produces nearly 600 bone meal per hour. It fits in a single chunk, making it easy to add a chunk loader like an ender pearl stasis chamber later. It's easily modified to produce unlimited wood using a bamboo autocrafter. Here's everything needed to build a single layer or double layer design. Also shown are the raw resources to gather in order to craft everything from scratch and what you'll have left over after crafting. Here I show how to go from raw gathered materials to all the crafted items in 60 seconds. If you start with the exact number of resources and craft them in the order I do on screen, it's very fast because you only need to count out the first few recipes. For everything I build after the batch of ladders, I'm using shift click. I'm using the item list for the double layer build here, but the order for the single layer is the same, though the number of items is different and you won't need a target block at the end. And one nice thing about crafting the dispensers using the dropper recipe is that you can use broken bows, like the kind skeletons are most likely to drop. You'll see that there are very few materials left over. Almost every item is used in the build. It's best practice to keep your build within a single chunk. So using chunk borders visible or your coordinates, locate the center of a chunk. It doesn't have to be exact because the build is much smaller than a single chunk. I begin by digging 3 out in each direction from my starting hole, and then digging 2 down for that entire area, forming a 7 by 7 and 2 deep pit. Then we mine out the foundation for our redstone clock and dispenser mechanisms. Here we begin constructing a redstone clock using repeaters and torches. The first 3 repeaters that we place will all be set to their 4th setting, meaning you have to click them 3 times for an 8 game tick delay. When we place the redstone torch, it should go connected or jutting out from the side of the block with the repeater facing into it. Our last repeater is going to be set to a 6 game tick delay, which means clicking it twice, not 3 times. This dropper, placed facing upwards, completes the redstone clock. As it's directly powered by the repeater behind it, it subsequently powers the redstone line to its side, creating a full circuit. After placing 3 more droppers, each of them with their faces pointing into the initial dropper we placed, we extend the redstone line into the wall. We'll connect that later with a lever, allowing us to turn off the redstone circuit. In addition to the 4 repeaters and a few pieces of redstone, the clock includes 1 redstone torch. The signal from that torch is passed up through a block to a second redstone torch that then passes into a dispenser. The dispensers dispense water that flushes away the carpet, bushes, and grass that grow in the area. And now we begin work on the first stone generator, a trench 7 long, 2 deep, and 1 wide, with recessed pistons. The slab is an essential part of the stone generator, and if placed like this, provides a handy exit. We now repeat the process on the other side. A final top slab here acts as a transparent block, allowing the circuit to transfer power to the 3 horizontally facing droppers, while also preventing losses, particularly in Bedrock Edition. We now create space for 3 hoppers that will collect the bone meal from the composters. The middle hopper points into the dropper line, while the hopper to its left points into the middle hopper. 4 blocks away from that middle hopper, we dig upwards. This is where our access ladder will be. We also dig underneath the ground to connect our line and to provide visibility and access to the dropper line. We then go ahead and place our collection chests correctly. We place a lever to allow us to turn off the redstone clock, and then an access ladder. You only really need to go up 2. That way you can sit on the top of the ladder to collect your items. Finally, we add a hopper that points into our collection chest. On top of the 3 hoppers we add 1 composter each, and then 3 more hoppers pointing into the composters. We begin placing a barrier around the main grow pit, just so items don't fall out. This will increase our rates. Here I get a little overzealous and also cover up the stone generator before placing our water and lava in it. We keep the center dispenser uncovered so that we can place a piece of redstone directly on top of it. This will transmit the signal that activates the other 2 dispensers, as well as all 12 hoppers. When we use our lever to turn off the redstone clock, all of the pistons will remain active because they are connected to a redstone torch. This is the position we want them to be in when we waterlog the slab that's in the center of the stone generators. After waterlogging the slab, place a lava on top of the slab and cover back up. Repeat on the other side. When we turn the system on, it should now begin generating stone and pushing that towards the grow area. We have to go in and remove any blocks that are being pushed that aren't going to be converted into moss. Once we've done this, we can place 1 final dispenser on top of the upwards facing dropper in the center of the grow area. When we put a moss block on top of that and prime it with bone meal, it should then convert the stone to moss. As the stone generator breaks moss, take 6 pieces and use it to fill in the empty gaps. Now fill each one of the 3 dispensers that face into the grow area with a bucket of water. Either shut off the machine before doing this, or time it so that they all dispense the water at the same time. We now have a fully functional and self-sustaining moss farm. Beginning work on the second level of the moss farm is easiest if the moss farm is off and if you have a couple of moss blocks that you've picked up from testing, just as temporary blocks. I'm going to be pretty quiet during the build of the second level, only chiming in when I think that there's something that specifically needs to be called out. The redstone is a lot more simple since we are using the clock from the first level and just piping it up to the second level. Additionally, you won't need any construction blocks if you've just finished building the first level because the excavation should produce all the blocks that you need to create the second level structure. It's important to be very careful when building the second level stone generators so that you don't get water spills or lava spills or things breaking so that you have to keep going up and down. One of the best practices I've found is to keep the second level powered, and that means disconnecting the target block and allowing the redstone torch that's on top of it to supply power to the second level. It's important to position the slab that will be waterlogged properly with a block on either side and ensuring that it's placed as a bottom slab so that water does not flow any way that it shouldn't. Every piston that you're placing, because the second level is powered, should automatically extend, and that'll allow you to place blocks around the piston head that'll prevent water and lava from spilling out. It's very important to put blocks behind the pistons on the second level, because without it, the pistons don't reach their push limit, and therefore the pistons on one side can push the pistons on the other side out of place. It's also very important to put blocks in front of the extended piston heads to prevent them from spilling water when they retract. I like to use moss blocks because then I don't have to worry about replacing them later. Additional blocks are placed around the hopper area, as I've noticed that sometimes items clip through if not for these extra blocks. You can place the lava and water from below while the pistons are extended. The lava goes in the space above the slab while the water waterlogs the slab. Before activating the second level stone generator for the first time, ensure the generators are closed off on the sides. The piston bodies have blocks behind them because of the push limit. And the piston heads have blocks below and in front of them. Here I manually activate the stone generator and piston pushers a number of times by placing and removing redstone dust from this position. I do this with enough time for the lava and water to generate stone. I do it slowly so I don't end up generating cobblestone or causing the system to break. Just like the extra blocks that we added around the hoppers at the top level, I place blocks along the side of the generated stone so that items are less likely to fall out or clip through these blocks. With the stone generator working, we can now add our water buckets to the dispensers, load it up with bone meal, and run the machine. You may notice items collecting at the corners near the hoppers. With the shifting water streams, items moving around, and the stone moving underneath, these items don't tend to linger there for too long before getting swept into the hopper and compost system. That's the design. Comment below if you like this no-nonsense tutorial style, and if you want to see the Auto Woodcrafter add-on for this. Thanks for stopping by the lab, and keep building.